Hey guys, a happy Tuesday. It's Joe and it's time for Pocket with Joe. We have 13 games on the board. Major slate today. Lots of opportunities to make some money. It is Tuesday, March 21st. I cannot believe how fast this year is going already, you guys. Man, that is crazy. Let's just jump into some of your comments here before we get started while everyone jumps in. Good afternoon, Matt. Good to see you here today. Kenny, I know the Flames, they're completely dead to me. Flames and Buffalo Sabres are going into not a good spot in my heart. That's for sure. Let's get it, James. We're going to go back to betting the Flames probably next season. At this point right now, we definitely need a break. We didn't bet them, though, thank God, yesterday, but I did have Jacob Markstrom's save shots on goal to go over, and then Calgary wasn't able to put up even shots on goal on Copley last night for us to get his over. Terrible performance out of the Calgary Flames. Yeah, there's good reason to love your Bruins tonight as they take on an Atlantic Divisional opponent. Benji, let's go Knights. I love the Knights in regulation tonight. I think the Knights come out nice and strong. And nice to see you here again today. So, guys, we're going to roll through these games nice and fast. 13 games on the board today. Lots of opportunities, like I said, to make some money. So we're kicking it off with the first game. The Carolina Hurricanes are taking on the New York Islanders. Now, this Metro matchup is going to be absolutely awesome. Firstly, this is one that could go to overtime. I think these teams are going to battle it out. Also, the Rangers are so hot right now, you guys. How can we not grab them at minus 115 on the money line at home? This is where I want to put my money. Now, the Rangers have won their last 4. Igor Shesterkin is confirmed to go. Now, Frederik Andersen expected here for the Canes. And yes, the Canes are sitting first in the Metro. Rangers chasing them, sitting third in the Metro. Between the Canes, the Devils, and the Rangers, these top 3 teams in the Metro are so loaded and so stacked. When we look at these 2 teams going at it tonight, total is sitting at 6. Now, they play again in Carolina on Thursday. So they might split these matchups, but I do think the Rangers have every opportunity to get this one. Benji going big on the Rangers on that puck line, minus 1.5 up plus 225. You see, and I would love that if I didn't have this one already bet to go to OT. So, Benji, I wish you all the best. If it doesn't go to OT, I really hope that the Rangers cover that puck line for you. That'd be absolutely beautiful. Plus money. And how can you go wrong betting the Rangers in any capacity tonight? This team, like I said, playing so phenomenally hot. They want to take the Metro Division. And if they keep rolling so strong, we could see it happen. Now, Adam Fox has been playing absolutely incredible for them. And the last time this team won, it was a 6-2 win. So they did cover that puck line. We have Carolina with a couple of their top goal scorers out. We know this team, they're really strong defensively. They're holding opponents to 25.8 shots on goal. So if you're looking for shots out of the Rangers tonight for props, I wouldn't take it. I'd look for those anytime goals instead of the shots on goal. But I do think the Rangers will get a little bit over what Carolina normally holds their opponents to. This is going to be quite the battle here. Now, the last 6 first periods at home, we've seen the New York Rangers win. We've also seen the New York Rangers win the last 6 as a favorite as well. So really interesting game here, you guys. The Carolina Hurricanes come in off rest. These 2 are going to battle it out. Now, looking at that total, we have seen the over hit in the last 4 meetings between these 2. I think if you're leaning on the Rangers to get the win here, you got to look at this over. You got to expect, even though both strong defenses for this one, to probably sneak over that total. I won't be betting the total, you guys. I'll be betting the overtime. I believe that was plus, what did I get it for? Just give me 1 second. I cannot remember off the top of my head. Start looking at so many numbers, and I don't want to give you guys the wrong odds. So over on FanDuel, it's plus 340 for these teams to go to overtime tonight, and I do think there's a prime opportunity. I've got 3 games that I think will go to overtime tonight. Rangers on the money line. I love here. They're just so strong right now. I can't step in front of this team. Yeah, Joe, that game flew over the total last night. I did expect way more out of Calgary. I don't know, Calgary, you knew as soon as those first 2 goals came in by the Kings and then the 3rd goal, Calgary looked completely dead in their eyes. So Calgary is completely dead. They belong with the Buffalo Sabres. Time to go golfing for both of those teams. Todd, big shout out to you. Thank you for joining me here today. Oh, I love my Blue Jays hat. I just got it, Kenny, and it's my favorite. It's got like a nice pink rim under here, and I love army green. So I was so excited because I've got Blue Jays hats, but I like rocking the other colors. Let's look at the next game on the board. Let me just pull up the latest odds for this one. The odds are moving so quick, you guys. We've got the Columbus Blue Jackets taking on the Washington Capitals. Now, Columbus, a huge underdog, got plus 198 on the money line. The Washington Capitals minus 245. So if you like the Caps on the puck line, minus 1.5 is minus 102. The Blue Jackets plus 1.5 at minus 118. Total at 6.5, juice to that over at minus 122. So looking at this matchup, there's a couple of ways I'm going to go. Tarasov expected in goal for the Columbus Blue Jackets, and Charlie Lindgren confirmed in goal for the Washington Capitals. We know both of these teams have been really giving up the goals, especially the Columbus Blue Jackets. They've allowed their opponents to score 4 or more goals in their last 8 games straight. So they've got no defense. They have no solid goaltending. So with this total 6.5, you got to think the Washington Capitals can go up and over their team total. They've lost their last 2 games. They're off that loss to the Minnesota Wild. So this team is going to be hungry. They still are sort of fighting for a wild card spot here, sitting 6th in the Metro. And this is a Metro divisional matchup with Columbus coming in here 8th in the Metro. Now the Blue Jackets have completely struggled versus the Capitals. They haven't won one of the last 4 meetings. The last time these teams played, that was a tight game. So looking at the puck line for the Columbus Blue Jackets plus 1.5 at minus 120 kind of makes sense because I could see this being a 1-goal game in this one, but I don't want to put my money there. What I'm going to do is look at the Washington Capitals come strong out of the gate off their last couple losses. Tarasov to let one in early, and for the Washington Capitals to cover that puck line in the first period. On the puck line, laying a half a goal is plus 118. We're taking that juice all the way down in this first period and getting actually plus money for that first puck line in the first period. Because when you also look at the Washington Capitals here, they failed to cover the puck line at home as a favorite in their last 10. So I'm nervous about the full game. I do think if I had to take the full game, it'd be the Columbus Blue Jackets plus 1.5 at minus 120, but I don't. No one's going to force me to take the full one here. What I'm going to do is just that first period for the Washington Capitals on the puck line. Now, if you're looking at the total in this one, because, my faith is more in the Capitals in this game than the Columbus Blue Jackets, which is saying a lot. I don't have very much trust in either of these teams right now for how poorly they've been playing. I do think you're more likely to go over the 6.5, but the Capitals team total is probably a safer way to go just with how the Blues have been playing. But these teams trend to that over. So if you want an over, this one should hit that over 6.5. The over has hit in 4 of the last 5 meetings. Okay, let's look at the next one here. The Florida Panthers taking on the Philadelphia Flyers. Interesting matchup in this one. Now, latest odds here for this one, just bear with me while I find it. Minus 182 here for the Florida Panthers. Plus 150 for the Philadelphia Flyers. Total of 6.5, juice to that over again at minus 122. Minus 1.5 for the Florida Panthers is coming in at plus 132. Philadelphia Flyers plus 1.5 is minus 160. Looking at this matchup, we know the Florida Panthers are on the back-to-back. They are still battling it out here for a wild card spot, sitting 4th in the Atlantic. Now, Alex Leon is expected in goal for them, and Carter Hart is confirmed for the Philadelphia Flyers. Now, the last time these teams played was back in October, and the Flyers got a 4-3 win. So high-scoring game in that one. Now, we've seen the Florida Panthers lose as a favorite on that second leg of a back-to-back. This hasn't been a strong suit for them coming into these games on no rest. They're also 1-8 in their last 9 games on no rest. So it's traditional. It goes over long trends, you guys, on this back-to-back. My other little bit of concern here with the Florida Panthers is we have to look at who they have on deck. They have the Toronto Maple Leafs on deck on Thursday, who is a battle of the Atlantic. But like I said, Florida needs each and every win that they can get in this one. The Flyers are coming in off a couple days rest, which really does bode well for this team. They've gone 11-4 in their last 15 games playing on 2 days rest. So when you're looking at this, with the Flyers coming in off that loss to the Carolina Hurricanes that they had to go to overtime in, that was a 5-4 loss. When we look at them off of a loss in overtime, they covered that puck line in their last 8 following that overtime. So taking them +1.5 at -165, I don't hate for the Flyers here, just expecting the Panthers to get the win, but the Flyers to keep it tight. That being said, it's disgusting juice. It's -165. So how I'm going to find value in this one. I think the Panthers, no matter what, go over their team total. Their team total is 3.5. So give me the Panthers team total over 3.5 at -126. Even if, this is a game that they come out sloppy, I still do expect offensively for them to be able to get the goals on the Flyers. I also think you look at that first period again, you guys, we know we've been making money here. Even like last night, Edmonton, the Sharks. We saw those goals come in the first period by both of those teams. So taking both teams to score in this situation, I think, is another solid way to go. We'll need the Flyers to do their part, but I do think taking both teams to score at +148 screams value in this one. I also like the over 1.5. That's coming in at -148. So you've got a huge difference there with both teams to score at +148 and the over 1.5 at -148. But I do think those are solid ways. So if you're a little worried that the Flyers can't add their share of the goals in the first period for both teams to score, you can just look at that over 1.5, because I do see the Panthers coming out strong right out of the gate. They could get both of those goals for this one as well. And then looking at the full game, over 6.5, really solid way to go with this one, you guys. The Panthers, 7 of their last 9 road games have gone over. The Flyers versus teams with winning records. We've seen 4 of their last 5. The over is 5-2 in the Flyers' last 7 home games as well. So give me a higher scoring one in this. They do trend. Actually, it's interesting. Last 17 meetings between them in Philadelphia, we've seen 12 go under, but I can't take an under with this Philadelphia Flyers team. We now have the Minnesota Wild taking on the New Jersey Devils. Now, this is another game I think could go to OT. We have the Minnesota Wild coming in here at +142, and I love the value on the Wild. We can't back them here. -172 here for the New Jersey Devils. They're battling here for the Metro. Now, total is low at 5.5, hitting it over at -134, hitting it under at +110. Shop these lines though, you guys. I have seen 6s out there. So if you like this to the under, make sure you shop and try to get that 6. If you like it to the over, -134 is still a lot of value there. I do think this one goes to overtime. For this game to go to overtime, it is +350. Both these teams are absolutely fighting the Wild, fighting within the Central. They got that nice win over the Capitals on Sunday. That was a 5-3 win. Now, we have the New Jersey Devils rolling in here off that big win over the Tampa Bay Lightning. It was a 5-2 win for them in that one. So give me overtime and give me the under 6. If you can find the 6 and you're not paying too much juice, you guys, I hate taking unders in games, but I really do rely on defenses and goaltending. And I know a lot of you are going to say this one flies over, and it could. This is not my favorite bet of the game. My favorite bet of the game is to go to overtime +350. And I lean on the Devils here at home. But finding value on the Devils in this line is just really hard. So that is where I'm going. Let me know what you guys are liking in this game. You can't find a bad trend against either of these teams right now. Both are rolling hot. The last time out, we did see the Wild get the 3-2 win. I expect 2-2 going to OT again. If this ends up 3-3 going to overtime, we know we have gone over that one. Gustafsson is my only concern here. He has allowed a lot of goals as of late for the Minnesota Wild. I need him to really tighten up in goal. Vanacek, he's likely in goal tonight, and we have seen a couple slip by him that we wouldn't have expected to, but I do expect both of these goalies to have solid nights. The next game, we have the Nashville Predators taking on a team that is dead to me in the Buffalo Sabres. Now, the Preds coming in at plus 134. You got to love that plus money with the Predators who are fighting. The Buffalo Sabres minus 162. And this is a team that looked like it was completely just laying down the other night versus the Boston Bruins, divisional opponent. They looked absolutely terrible, like beyond terrible out there. And yes, the Preds looked terrible in their last game. Both these teams coming off a game which they got shut out 7-0. We got a total of 6.5 in this one, juiced to the over at minus 128 to the over. I'm not touching the Buffalo Sabres with a 10-foot hole. If you made me bet this one, it's the Predators or nothing. I'm not touching the Sabres. I don't like them right now. They've cost me in their last 2 games. They lost to the freaking Flyers, you guys. The Predators, much better team here. Yes, they've lost their last 3 games. They got shut out by the Rangers as well. But I don't care. Predators plus money. You're giving me plus 135, 34. With the Predators, I'm going to jump on it. I would look at their team total as well. It's kind of juicy, so don't absolutely love it. But when we look at the Predators playing in Buffalo, they won 8 of the last 10 meetings in Buffalo. Now, this one might go to overtime as well. This is another game where I can see both of these teams playing enough that we could see overtime. Just with how both of them have been playing as of late. I can't trust the Buffalo Sabres to save my life. It's saying a lot to have a lot of faith in the Predators in this one as well. The Predators are sitting 17, 14, and 3-1 on the road this season. Buffalo at home, 13, 19, and 3. Give me the Preds. Give me the opportunity to go to overtime. I'm not a big bet here at plus 370, but I could see it as these teams fight it out. I think Buffalo's checked out. I think they're ready to go golfing. It would take an absolute miracle for them to make a wild card spot. I don't know where their heads are at with that logic behind everything, if they're still going to come out and try to fight, especially off that loss to the Bruins. But the Preds are getting my money in this one. And I lean to the full over in this game. I know it's juicy at minus 128, but we got a lack of defense on both sides of the puck in this game. Oh, you loathe the Sabres. I loathe the Sabres too. Good afternoon, Anthony. Welcome. Yeah, we can all laugh at the Buffalo Sabres. Go with the under with the Preds. I know they have hit that under. The Predators, they didn't even score in their last one. So I tell you, neither of these teams got a goal in their last one. Preds have full roster tonight and Saros in net. Yeah, I do like Saros in net. It should be a good one to get that plus money with the Predators. I am not putting another dime on this Sabres team unless all of a sudden magically they start playing hockey again. I don't know what they're doing out there. Both teams are trash lately. It's a good point. Coffee, cheers to that. Let me have a sip on that. No, both teams are struggling, just like my Calgary Flames. Okay, let's look at the next game on the board. Like I said, 13 games today. So much to go over, you guys. The Ottawa Senators are taking on those Boston Bruins that dominated the Buffalo Sabres. If you even watched that one, it looked like they were playing keep away for part of the game, and then the fight started breaking out and everything. So looking at the Ottawa Senators tonight, they're on the back-to-back. They had a super hard defensive game that they ended up winning versus the Penguins last night. Ferguson, I believe is how you say his name, was in goal for Ottawa last night. Now, he was making his first game debut with the Ottawa Senators, and absolutely phenomenal. Now, it's funny. I was on Sports Grid last night, and Gabe showed a picture of him. It must have been a picture when he was 12. He looked 12. I saw the press interview with him after. He is a full-grown man, so anyone who caught that as well, he isn't a little kid out there. He was insanely good in that. I don't even know how many shots. It was like insane amount of shots that he was able to save. The Sens got the 2-1 win. Now, looking at Boston here, They won their last 3. This is a divisional matchup. So I'm looking at Boston to come away with it. They don't want a divisional opponent like the Ottawa Senators, who's sitting 5th in the Atlantic, to get the win. Could this be a let-go spot where they're not looking for the Senators to come out strong enough? Maybe, but I'm not buying into it. I've got the better team here. They're at home in front of their home crowd. I'm going to lay the 1.5 on that puck line at -125. I'd look at them. I'm not sure if I'd look the first period. I think if the Sens have a chance to win one of these periods, it would be the first period or tie it up. So I'm going to stay off that first period. The one thing about the Senators, if the Boston Bruins and them get into scraps like we saw with the Buffalo Sabres, at least the Ottawa Senators have a penalty kill. The Buffalo Sabres have absolutely no penalty kill, you guys. So if you're watching these games, live betting them, if you see the Buffalo Sabres get a penalty tonight in their matchup, live bet the other team for that next goal, because I tell you, Buffalo can't kill anything, but Ottawa can kill penalties, so they will be strong in that. My problem with Ottawa right now is how many goals they've been allowing, except for last night. They've been letting these goals come in, which has been leading them to these losses. Now, this team, I don't know if they've got a wild card chance, but they're still fighting. You can tell in these games, they are digging deep. I lean on the under because of it in this one. I do think, although it's scary to take unders, we've seen so many games fly over. We got to start looking at these unders in games, especially divisional matchups. 5th in the Atlantic, 1st in the Atlantic. Look for defenses, look for goaltending. I'm going to take the under 6.5. Now, looking at the odds in this one, we have Ottawa plus 250 minus 315 for the Boston Bruins. That total at under 6.5 is -114. So if you like it over, it's -106. But I do think at -114 to the under is where I will take it. I'm also going to lay the 1.5 with the Boston Bruins at -126. Absolutely. That's very true. If Sogard confirmed looking for a high Boston, yeah, and that's the thing. You've got to look at who's going to be in net for the Ottawa Senators and what we're going to see out of the Boston Bruins. And this is trying to get behind the mindset of how the Boston Bruins are going to come out, because you don't know. They clinched the Atlantic. We saw that. They clinched the Atlantic when they beat the Detroit Red Wings, and the Islanders lost in their game. So they clinched there. Then they went into Detroit. They gave that game away. Absolutely. They didn't even come to play. They gave the next game away versus the Blackhawks. And then we saw them versus the Jets, the Wild. They actually came out to play, and they came out to just destroy the Buffalo Sabres, who are within their division. So remember that. We're looking at them with a team within the division. So this one, Boston could score 7 goals again. This could be another one. So I don't absolutely love this total, but I do think looking at Boston to cover that puck line, I'd lean under, just because I think this could even be a 5-1 kind of game for Boston. It just depends on how many goals Boston wants to get. And that's the scary thing looking at this total. The under, though, has hit in 4 of the last 5 meetings in Boston and 6 of the last 7 meetings overall. 7 o'clock Eastern, we also have the Tampa Bay Lightning taking on the Montreal Canadiens. Now, Montreal loves a good upset, and we all love a good upset, but are we willing to put our money with Montreal tonight? Biggest question of the day. Montreal coming in here at plus 205, and I'd love to say grab them here. Not sure if I'm going to get there, you guys. Minus 255 for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Total 6.5, juiced again to that over at minus 114. If you like Tampa to win it big, minus 1.5 at minus 105 on the puck line. Montreal plus 1.5 at minus 114. So looking at this matchup, I do think we see the goals come in. Andre Vasilevsky expected for the Tampa Bay Lightning, and we know he's a really solid goalie. We do see some goals come early. Sam Montembeault confirmed for the Montreal Canadiens. He's one of my favorite goalies for he is my favorite goalie for the Montreal Canadiens. He can have some fantastic games. He destroys Calgary when he's in goal versus the Calgary Flames, and I do think he has an opportunity to have a nice one here. But I think if we see these goals again, we see the goals come in the first period. I'm looking for the over 1.5 in the first period. Now, this isn't minus 140, and why I'm not taking both teams to score is because we know it could just be 2 goals from the Lightning, or it could be 1-1. I don't trust Montreal enough, even on home ice, to count them for both teams to score. Now, the last time these teams did play them, this was back on March 18th. We saw the Lightning get a 5-3 win. Both teams to score in that last game did hit. It's kind of another reason why I'm a little nervous taking both teams to score in the first period. We could see Montreal shut out in that first period and the Lightning getting those 2 goals. Either way, I think there's 2 goals in this first period. If you're braver than me, taking both teams to score definitely is going to pay you out more in this one. Now, we've seen the Tampa Bay Lightning cover that puck line in their last 3 versus the Montreal Canadiens too. So taking the Tampa Bay Lightning on that puck line would be a solid way to go. But I just look at this, the first game of a road trip. They're off that loss to the Devils 5-2. They have a road trip ahead of them. I don't know. I don't know if they overlook Montreal in this one. And Montreal hasn't played since they lost to the Lightning. So it'll be interesting. This is their first game home off a 3-game road trip, though. And normally a situation where I like to fade teams. So I can't really get behind a side in this one, you guys. This could be one where Montreal comes out strong. I think you can look at the over 6.5 at -114. I do think there's value there. I do think both of these teams find the back of each other's nets. We know that these teams normally result in high-scoring games, but that first period over 1.5 is my favorite bet in this one. Yeah, see, and that's the thing, Kenny. You just don't know what you're going to get out of Montreal. That is for sure. Under first period with the Rangers, Jason. Nice way to go with that. That Rangers game is going to be crazy out there on the ice with the Canes. That is for sure. Now let's look at the next game on the board here. We have Toronto taking on the New York Islanders. Okay, so looking at this matchup between Toronto and the New York Islanders, Toronto coming in at -118. The Islanders at -102, total sitting at 5.5, -124 to the over, -1.5 for the Toronto Maple Leafs at +205. How do you not love that when this Islanders team is so freaking inconsistent? I can't trust them to save my life. We also have the Islanders +1.5 at -255, so no value there. Give me the Leafs. Give me the Leafs all day to win this matchup. I actually don't understand why we're seeing the Toronto Maple Leafs such short favorites. I know they're on the road. They're 5-1 in their last 6 meetings versus the Islanders. The Leafs also are 6-3-1 in the last 10 meetings in New York. I'm not buying it. They won the last matchup 5-2. We could take them straight up. Great value. Take them puck line if you want. I just don't think the Islanders can do it. Now, the one thing is we've got really good goaltending matchup. We have Samsonov confirmed in goal for the Toronto Maple Leafs. He has a 2.35 goals against average. And Sorokin confirmed for the Islanders. So that's the bright and shiny point of this game for the Islanders with Sorokin in goal. He's got a 2.37 goals against average. This could be one of those games where we have a tight defensive matchup in this one. Now looking at that total at 5.5, I struggle to bet it under the 5.5, but we are getting the under at +102. We are getting value. I'm going to stay off that total bet. I could see it being a 3-1 style game here for the Toronto Maple Leafs. We know the Leafs are good at limiting their opponent's ability to get those shots on goal. The Lightning allowing way more shots. If you think this one is going to be an under-style game, I'd be interested in seeing Sorokin save shots on goal, and I'm actually going to look at that because Sorokin absolutely will have to have a solid night in this game. Sorokin save shots on goal, 27.5, juice to the over at -116. So looking at the Leafs in this one, they do average that 31.8 shots on goal per game, and we see the New York Islanders allowing 31.4. So we know in this game, we are going to see Sorokin face at least 31 shots on goal. If you think he can save 3 goals out of those 31 shots, which I think he can, if he can say, we don't want him to only save 3, we want him to save 28. If you think he can save 28 shots, because we know Toronto is going to put up these shots. I do think this is a nice one. Like I said, I can see this being a 3-1 style game. So right on the number I was looking at, you guys, I would take Sorokin, even though I'm on the Leafs. And this is one thing I love to do, even when I'm betting one team, to bet the other team's goalie, when I do think those shots are going to come in. So Sorokin over 27.5 save shots on goal. I do like it there. Yeah. Who can score for the Islanders? Very true. Bo's just not having the best of luck with his new team. It looked like a bright and shiny new team when they first rolled out of the All-Star break, but all the wheels did fall off. Matthews to get an assist. I like that for the Florida Panthers there, I'm guessing. Or no, you're talking Austin Matthews for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and I do think that would be a solid way to go. Austin Matthews at plus 100 for the Toronto Maple Leafs, I do like. Yeah, the line is a little fishy, isn't it? And that's one thing, Last Man, we always have to look at. When these lines don't look right, it kind of makes me feel nervous. I should have listened to my gut last night, even though I like the Kings. You guys know I didn't take a side in that one, but I couldn't get past that line. Why did it look fishy? We're starting to see fishy looking lines that are still hitting for us. So there is so many games picks from Dave. It's going to be a phenomenal night on the ice. Wishing you all the best. Okay, let's look at the next game here. Man, there are so many games. 13 games, unlucky number. Lots of games, but we're going to forget about the Calgary game. So we're only talking 12. Actually, we'll talk it. I hate Calgary, though. Woke up hating Calgary, went to bed hating Calgary. It's just not changing. We're going to look at the Arizona Coyotes taking on the Winnipeg Jets. Winnipeg, another team that's done me so freaking dirty. They're coming in at minus 295 facing an Arizona Coyotes team that's on a roll. They're hot, won their last 4. Yes, they've been at home. Plus 235 on the road here. Total 6.5 juice to the under at minus 130 to the under. Plus money on the over. Looking at this one, Connor Hellebuck is likely in goal for the Winnipeg Jets. Now, the last time these teams played, you guys, this is why the under is juiced here. Winnipeg won 2-1. So this is the first leg of a back-to-back for the Arizona Coyotes. They have the Oilers on deck tomorrow. They're not looking ahead to the Oilers. They're going to play each and every game. They're sitting 7th in the Central. The Winnipeg Jets sitting 4th in the Central. Again, another team fighting for playoff spots. These teams that are fighting, we're not normally having a lot of luck in these should win, must win, gotta win situations. They're shooting themselves in the foot, and we're shooting ourselves in the foot, backing them. The Coyotes have won 4 of their last 5 games following a win, getting them at plus 1.5 at minus 100. It's the only way I can take this. I can't trust the Winnipeg Jets. Should the Jets come out and dominate and win this one 3-0? Absolutely. These aren't happening when we're seeing this. We've also seen the Winnipeg Jets fail to cover the puck line as a favorite in their last 10. They're not blowing anyone out of the water. Arizona 18-18 on the road on that puck line. The Winnipeg Jets 16-19 at home on that puck line. They lost the last game by a shutout. They didn't get shootout. They got shut out by the St. Louis Blues, you guys. On Sunday, the Blues beat them 3-0. Could the Coyotes come in here? The Yotes get the win? Hell yeah. Am I going to sprinkle? No, I got enough bets out there today. I wouldn't be shocked. Who would be shocked at this point if Winnipeg loses another game, another must-win game? They are 1-6 in their last 7 in the 4th game of a 4-6 situation as well, which is the situation they are in. They are 7-3 in their last 10 versus the Arizona Coyotes. Arizona struggled on the road as well. Winnipeg, they're strong at home. We know that, but not buying it. Not buying it at all, you guys. I won't be forced to bet these teams that are in must-win situation at all. So how many times have I said Yotes plus 1.5 for the last 2 weeks? All day long, Benji. Absolutely. So you guys, the Jets are another team dead to me. I'm not taking them to cover a puck line. Should they? Yes. Will they? Maybe. They might. I'd rather have my money on a team that is playing the better hockey, covering those puck lines. and digging deep to get these wins. I don't know what the Winnipeg Jets are doing. They're looking so sloppy out there. Thank you, Sean. Yeah, Yotes all day plus 1.5. Kraken and Stars tonight, Joe. We'll get to that game for sure. I tell ya, give me the under 6.5 in this one too. I think it's a tight fought battle. Jets offense is just absolutely struggling to score. So if they do get the win, like I said, 2-1 win, more than likely. 3-2 win could happen as well. Then this is still under that total. Next game on the board, you guys, we have the Detroit Red Wings taking on the St. Louis Blues. The Blues have won their last 2 games. Red Wings lost their last 3. They got that loss to the Panthers in their last game out. Let's just try to bring up current odds. Plus 122 here for the Red Wings. Minus 146 for the Blues. Who wants to lay minus 146 with the St. Louis Blues? Almost laughable here, but the Red Wings, and no one to write home to your mother about as well. We got this juice to the over at minus 120 to the over 6.5. If you have to bet this one, with the Red Wings on the back-to-back, losing to the Panthers 5-2 last night, I would back the St. Louis Blues, but I don't want to give the books minus 145 on that money line to back a Blues team. There's no way. Yes, they got the shutout over the Jets, but like I said, the Jets are playing absolutely crap hockey right now. They won back in 2021. So these teams haven't even played this season. Back in 2021, I believe it was December, the Blues got a 6-2 win. So throw out all your stats on these teams versus each other, because we know the Blues have sold off everyone. The Red Wings, well, the Red Wings are not playing good hockey right now, but I can't trust either of them. The Blues are 2-6 in their last 8 home games as well, and the books want you to lay minus 145. I don't think so. If you got to bet this one, take the over 6.5. With Detroit on the back-to-back, I do expect tired legs. I expect the goals to come in from the St. Louis Blues, and I expect the Red Wings to be able to find the back of the net as well. We saw when they played the Bruins, with the Bruins not actually really playing for anything, just coming out more for a practice skate is what it looked like in that game. They were able to get some goals on the board, so I do expect them to get some goals on the board in this one. Yeah, he is off to a good start for sure. So we'll see how strong he can hold. We know the Red Wings can come firing as well, but they're averaging only that 28.7 shots on goal per game. Both these teams averaging 28.7 shots on goal per game. The problem is their defense is just allowing these shots to come in. So that's one of the games that if you really don't have to bet it, don't. We'll get to Joe's Seattle Kraken right now. The Seattle Kraken taking on the Dallas Stars. This one is at 8:30 Eastern. Current odds plus 140 here for the Seattle Kraken, minus 170 for the Dallas Stars. Now the total 6.5. Juice to the under, minus 115 to that under here. I lean over in this one. I lean as well, both teams to score in that first period. We know that both of these teams have been strong offensively. We've got strong goaltending matchups, though. Jake Ottinger likely for the Dallas Stars, and the Seattle Kraken, Martin Jones expected, which he is a pretty solid goalie. Both these teams averaging over 3 goals per game, with the Seattle Kraken averaging 3.48 goals per game and 30.3 shots on goal, and the Dallas Stars coming in here averaging 3.43 and 32.3 shots on goal. Now, when we look at defensively, the defense has been really limiting the shots for the Kraken at 27.7. They're holding opponents, but we have seen 3.19 on average goals per game. So a little bit of goaltending issues here for the Kraken. When we look at the Dallas Stars, they're allowing that 30.8 shots on goal per game. They are off the overtime win versus my Calgary Flames. That was an explosive win for them in OT. That was a 6-5 win. And we're seeing the Seattle Kraken here off that loss at home to the Edmonton Oilers. Again, another high-scoring game. That was a 6-4 game. So give me the over in this one. That total over 6.5 is minus 105. We were getting 6s earlier in the day, but that line has moved. So shop that line if you want to pay a little bit more juice. The over 6 is still around there, but I do think both teams to score in that first period. I'm going to pull up what those odds are for you guys here, because I forgot to make note of it. First period total goals over 1.5 is one way to go. It's juice out -140. Both teams to score is at +164. And I'm shocked we're getting so much value there. The book's not expecting the Kraken and the Stars both to score in that first period. But we look at these Stars games. They've been flying over. We know the Seattle Kraken can put up their share of the goals as well. Now, they have struggled versus the Dallas Stars, but they have been really strong on the road as of late as well. So I do think this is a solid one to look at both teams to score. That's where you're going with Joey for a Seattle. Thank you. I love my hat too. Are we seeing him in? Yeah, so you got to look at the over. And I do think those goals come quick with him in. Let me just see. I did not see him in. I checked daily face-off right before I came on here too. Yeah, you're right. Joey will be in. So when we look at him and his stats, he has a save percentage of 0.9, 4 goals against in that one game. He had 40. He allowed 40. He allowed 4 goals on 40 shots. So he faced a ton of shots in that game in his last one out, which is absolutely incredible, actually, versus Calgary. So he did actually pretty good, better than Jacob Markstrom did last night, that's for sure. I think we have a little bit of faith in him, but I do think both teams to score in that first period is a solid way to go. Joe taking his Kraken +140 on the money line tonight. Absolute must win. Yeah, Joe, this is my problem with these teams. Absolute must wins. They're not getting it done. But I do think the Seattle Kraken have been solid on the road. I'm not willing to step in front of the Dallas Stars at this price. If we were getting more value on the Seattle Kraken, I'd be willing to step in front of it. That both teams to score at +164. I love in that first period. If you just like the first period over 1.5, that is at -140. So you're going to pay juice, but still not out of the range for sure. And now I lean over on this one just because Dallas is coming home off a road trip. I do think we'll see a little shakier defense out of the Dallas Stars than we normally do. We know the Dallas Stars are strong, but they're returning home from a 6-game road trip. The last time these teams matched up was just like a week, March 13th. And we saw the Dallas Stars get a 5-2 win. And then on March 11th, it was an OT win, 4-3. So I do think this is another one. We have opportunity to go to overtime. We have opportunity for this one to go over that number as these teams battle it out. The next game on the board, the Calgary Flames taking on the Anaheim Ducks. Now, you guys know my thoughts on Calgary here. It will be interesting to see who Sutter puts in goal. I'm seeing Vladar expected right before I came on here. I just wanted to see if we're seeing confirmations of Vladar in goal. He's still unconfirmed. We saw him finish that game out last night for Calgary versus the Kings. Now, Jacob Markstrom started that game. He started off absolutely terrible. He should have been pulled after the first period, but Sutter having confidence in his goalie there, and it just didn't work out for us. It didn't work out in our favor. I think we needed the momentum shift. But looking at this one, Calgary's lost their last 2 games, and you guys, honestly, I think they're ready to go golfing. I don't think the mindset is there with the Calgary Flames team this year, and until they prove to me they're out to actually win these games, and yes, they got the win over Vegas, but we look at this. Calgary's coming in on a back-to-back, and yes, they're strong on the back-to-back. They've won 4 of their last 5 on a back-to-back on no days rest, but they've got Vegas again on deck on Thursday. They've got the Kings a couple games after. They don't have an easy schedule against ahead of them. So do they need this win over the Ducks tonight? Hell yeah. Are they going to get it? I don't trust them. My money's not going on Calgary until they get into some sort of rhythm. Last night was appalling. So looking at the Ducks here, +1.5 on that puck line is -130 for the Ducks on that puck line. The Flames are 0-4 on the puck line as a favorite on the second leg of a back-to-back. So while they have been strong on the back-to-back, they haven't been covering those puck lines on the back-to-back. We saw the Ducks keep it tight with Vancouver. It was a 2-1 loss in their last game out. They're 4-3-3 in their last 10. Calgary only 4-4-2 in their last 10. Calgary has been stronger on that puck line, going 20-17 on the puck line. And the Ducks, not so solid on the puck line at home, 15-18. They've lost their last 10 as a home underdog as well. Give me the over 6.5. If you got to bet this one, take the over 6.5. I tell you. Yeah, both teams to score, Joe, in that first period is definitely where I like my money in the Kraken and the Stars. But you guys, for Calgary, 3-7 in the last 10 in the fourth game of a 4-6 situation. I don't love my team today. Don't love them at all. So give me the over 6.5. Give me the Ducks puck line plus 1.5. Should Calgary come out and steamroll them? Hell yeah. Will they? No. The Vegas Golden Knights and the Vancouver Canucks, last game on the board, 10 o'clock Eastern for this one. We have Jonathan Quick expected here for the Vegas Golden Knights. Vancouver Canucks expected to start Demko. And I just want to see if this is where the goalie, where we're still looking for goalies in this one, because it does change a lot with who we see in goal for both of these teams. Yeah, Quick and Demko. Quick still unconfirmed. Demko likely in this one. Now, Quick has had some fantastic games since coming to Vegas, and he's had a couple where, like the one last time versus Calgary, where he didn't have a strong game. I do expect him to bounce back in this one. Demko, I don't trust Demko that much for Vancouver, and I don't trust the defense of the Vancouver Canucks. And have they been scoring goals? Absolutely. They've been able to put the puck in the back of nets, but they're home off a road trip here. They won that last matchup back in November versus Vegas, 5-1. And I think while Vegas is kind of in a look-ahead spot, you got to look at what value you can find with the Vegas Golden Knights in this one. So Vegas minus 137 on the money line, plus 114 for the Vancouver Canucks, total 6.5 juice to that over. And again, you look at this line. Why is Vancouver such a close underdog to the Vegas Golden Knights? It makes no sense. It feels like a trap getting money on Vegas here. They're sitting first in the Pacific. Vancouver, sixth in the Pacific. I expected Vegas to be closer to minus 170, minus 180 favorites in this, even a $2 favorite. But we look at their schedule. So they won that last game. They got the win over the Columbus Blue Jackets. They have the Flames on deck on Thursday, who they just lost to at home. And then they have 2 games versus the Edmonton Oilers. So that's their road trip. If they're going to lose something, it'd be this one versus Vancouver. I think that they save their best of their best for their next couple of games, because still within the Pacific Division there, it's just that Vancouver sitting so low at 6th in the Pacific. They want these wins over Edmonton. Edmonton battling too to get the Pacific. And like we talked about, Calgary's dead. But the Canucks have won their last 5 at home. They're 7-1 in their last 8 overall. If I had to take a side, because I can't step in front of Vancouver, I'd probably look at the over in this game, the over 6.5. I do think we got a higher scoring one. I'd also look for both teams to probably score in that first period, goals to come in early, the over 1.5 in the first period. I do expect all of those to happen in this one. Demko confirmed. So that is a good thing for Vegas that Demko is confirmed. I know a lot of people like Demko, just not loving him. That's for sure. Definitely a nice way to go with that. Over is a great way to go. You don't think the Flames will look to take their embarrassing loss out on the Ducks? Well, the Ducks came into Calgary and beat us on our own ice. So Calgary is, yeah, they're right outside a wild card spot. But if you want to put your money on Calgary, 100%. Should they win it? Should they blow out the Ducks? Yeah, they should. But my money is not going on my Calgary Flames right now. They break my heart and break my wallet. I'm not going to put my money on them. They should have a bounce back here. They should do all these things. They should have got that win last night, or they should have at least, no, sorry. They shouldn't have got the win. They should have stayed competitive. They had under 20 shots on goal in that game. This is a team that normally gets 35 plus shots on goal per game. They did nothing defensively. They were terrible in front of Jacob Markstrom. And everyone who's saying it was Jacob Markstrom's fault, he lost that game. Yes, he should have been pulled after the first period because he was rattled. But here's the thing. The defense was absolutely appalling. At one point, it was like the amount of shots on goal that they had versus us. They had like 17 shots on goal in that first period. We normally hold opponents to like 25, 26, 27 shots on goal per game. We just completely fell apart on both ends of the ice and goaltending-wise last night. It was appalling. So should they jump back? Absolutely. Will I bet them? No. 10%. It's Vancouver. They can beat it with the second and third liners. Yeah. And this is why, Benji, so you say this, and I completely agree with you. What scares me here is why the hell aren't the books reflecting that fact? Why aren't they $2 favorites in this one for the Vegas Golden Knights? They are looking better under new leadership, and I hate that for Bruce. I was really hoping that this team would completely fall apart. Even worse without Bruce, but it couldn't have got worse. It just got better. So that is where we're looking. You guys, it is 50 minutes in. For everyone waiting for that parlay, I'm sorry you have waited so long. Let's build a long shot parlay. We will do a brief, quick recap because I feel like we've talked extensively about all of these games. So you guys are ready. I am ready. Let's jump straight into it. So much happening today. Definitely a good day to make some freaking money on the ice. We will look at the first game here. The Carolina Panthers and the New York Rangers. You guys, I think this one has the opportunity to go to overtime. I have bet this one to go to OT. I like the Rangers here as well. On the money line, I think they get the home win. These teams do play again on Thursday in Carolina. I think you can look at a couple different things. Goalie props in this one. Igor Shesterkin do have a good night. If you think the Arizona, or if you think the Carolina Hurricanes win this one, you'd probably look at Frederik Andersen for his save shots. But I do think the Rangers come out with the win. These teams trend to the over if you're wanting to bet the total. I'm going to take the Rangers on the money line for the parlay, and fingers crossed they don't let us down here. The Columbus Blue Jackets and the Washington Capitals. I'm going to take the Capitals first period for the parlay. On the money line for the first period for the parlay, but I do like the puck line for a straight up bet. You're getting laying half a goal at plus 118. I do think this full game, I'm a little hesitant to take the Washington Capitals to cover that puck line for the full game. I'd be looking at the plus 1.5 if I had to. Not a bet that I'm going to make into this one. We just look at the Capitals. They failed to cover that puck line as a favorite in their last 10 at home. So I'm not willing to get there. I do think this one goes over that total of 6.5, but I lean more strongly on Washington's team total to go over with the amount of goals the Blue Jackets have been giving up. I do think this is one where we count on the Capitals for their game in this one. The Florida Panthers and the Philadelphia Flyers. You guys, the Panthers are rolling so hot right now, and I know they're on the back-to-back, but I'm going to throw them on the money line into the parlay. I'm a little concerned about the Leafs on deck, who are sitting second in the Atlantic. This is a Thursday game, so they've got a day in between. I think the Panthers in the first period is a solid way to look for this one as well. But I do like both teams to score the most in that first period. It's one of my favorite bets of the day. Panthers, Flyers at plus 148 for both teams to score in that first period. Now, if you just want to take the over 1.5, you're going to pay juice. It's a minus 148. So you're flipping those odds there from plus 148 to minus 148 with that. But I do think we can see both of these teams get a goal in the first period. The Panthers over 3.5 goals for the full game is minus 126, and I like that as well. And I lean on the over 6.5 in this one at minus 125. The Minnesota Wild and the New Jersey Devils to go to overtime at plus 350. I absolutely love here as these teams battle it out. I hate to take unders, you guys. If you can get the 6, I do like the under 6. I do think this is 2-2 going to overtime, but we know in a blink of an eye, this could be 3-3 going to overtime. We saw what happened last night with Calgary and the Kings. If one team does not show up, this one has no chance of staying under that total. I do think between these two goalies, Vanacek and Gustafsson both have allowed some easy goals in as of late. I'm expecting a major bounce back from both of these goalies. Strong games in this one. I would look at whichever goalie that you like the most, and probably Vanacek here for myself. to have their safe shot zone go over, because both these teams are able to get up the shots. But we look at the Carolina Hurricanes, or sorry, the New Jersey Devils. I saw red and I started talking the wrong team. They do a nice job at limiting. I do think the Devils get the win here. I believe in them defensively more than I believe in the Minnesota Wild, which is saying a lot because both of these teams have really strong defenses, but offensively, either the New Jersey Devils have the edge offensively for me. So give me the Devils here on the money line for the parlay. I do think this one goes to OT, though. It's going to be a battle, and the under 6 is in play. The Nashville Predators and the Buffalo Sabres, like I told you guys, it's the Preds or nothing at that plus money, plus 134, plus 135 on the money line in this one. Buffalo completely dead to me. And yes, they have won the last matchup. And yes, they are desperate to get the win, but I'm not buying it. I do think, though, this one could go to overtime at plus 370. I lean on this game going over the total of 6.5. Lack of defense on both sides. So give me this one between the Preds and the Sabres over 6.5. Remember, both these teams shut out in their last game. So thinking that they'll get goals against each other, they better. The Ottawa Senators taking on the Boston Bruins. It's the Bruins or nothing for me here, you guys. I'm going to throw the Bruins in regulation into the parlay. I do think this one is Bruins laying 1.5 at minus 125. Solid bet in this one. I lean on the under 6.5 just because I do think that we will see the Sens really step up a little bit defensively. They're strong on that penalty kill. I do think the Bruins will play more of a defensive game, but we know if the Bruins come out offensively, this one could go over. I don't love the total, but I lean under. The Tampa Bay Lightning and the Montreal Canadiens. This one, give me the over 1.5 in the first period. I do expect both of these teams to put up a goal in that first period, but I don't trust it completely. We just cashed that last time. Let's just take the over 1.5. I could see the Lightning coming out and getting 2 goals or Montreal getting one of those goals, but I do think even at minus 140, there's still value on that first period over 1.5. I do think this full game has to go over 6.5. I do think it's another 4-3 style game. So if you want to grab Montreal plus the 1.5, I don't blame you here, but this could be a Lightning win as well, where they rack up the goals here. Montreal home from a road trip. Sam Montembeault, he will be the deciding factor on how many goals Tampa gets here, because we know he can stand on his head in some cases. So the last game between these two, 5-3. The one before that was a puck line cover by Tampa as well. So it'll be interesting. But I do think this one goes over the 6.5. So for the parlay, give me the Lightning and Montreal over 1.5 the first period. I'm going to do the first period bet, you guys. I really like it there. The Toronto Maple Leafs and the New York Islanders. I hate that the Leafs are only minus 120-ish here on the money line. Not value-wise. I hate it because it feels like I'm almost getting trapped into taking the Leafs. I can't back the Islanders. You're giving me the Leafs at minus 120. I think they are the stronger team. They've dominated this matchup. I don't understand why we're getting such great value on the Leafs in this one. Sitting second in the Atlantic. They came off the shootout win over the Senators. I do think that they get a nice win in this one. They're 6-3-1 in the last 10 meetings. I do think we see more defense in this one, so I do like the under as well, but the Leafs will go into the parlay. The Arizona Coyotes and the Winnipeg Jets. Like I told you guys, Winnipeg, another team that feels dead to me. Give me the Coyotes plus 1.5 at minus 100 for one of my best bets of the day. I can't trust the Jets. Should they win this 3-0? Absolutely, but I doubt that they do. I think this is one that stays tight and to that under. Give me, for the parlay, the Coyotes and the Jets under 6.5. I actually was shocked this one didn't close at 6. It might close later in the day, though. The Detroit Red Wings and the St. Louis Blues, like I said, you guys, laying minus 145 with the Blues just sounds disgusting. I do think this one goes over the total. So if you want to bet this, I'll throw the Red Wings and the Blues into the parlay at over 6.5. That's coming in at minus 120. The Seattle Kraken and the Dallas Stars, another one that I do think both teams score in the first period. I think this is a hard-fought battle here. We could see this one go to overtime. We know the Stars have been playing a lot of these games going to overtime. The Kraken have struggled not winning the majority of their last 5 meetings, only one of those versus the Stars, but I do think we get their best effort. Like you guys mentioned, they are fighting for a playoff spot. So I lean over in this one with Dallas off the road trip. I do love both teams to score in the first period. So that's one of my straight up favorite bets, the Krakens and the Stars. Both teams to score first period. Oh, and then with that Islanders game, I like Sorokin over 27.5 save shots on goal at minus 116. So I do think there's at least 31 shots on him in that game, and he doesn't let in more than 3. The Calgary Flames and the Anaheim Ducks. The Ducks on the puck line plus 1.5 at minus 130 is the only way that I would look at betting a side in this. I do think this one goes over, so I'm going to take Calgary and the Ducks over 6.5. And then the Vegas Golden Knights and the Montreal Canadiens. Give me Vegas for the win on the money line for the parlay. I do worry a little bit about look ahead spot, but I do think this one goes over that total as well. So that long shot parlay is the Rangers on the money line, the Capitals first period money line, the Panthers on the money line, the Devils on the money line, the Preds and the Buffalo Sabres over 6.5, the Bruins in regulation, the first period between the Lightning and the Montreal Canadiens over 1.5, the Leafs minus 120, the Coyotes and the Jets under 6.5, the Red Wings and the St. Louis Blues over 6.5, and Calgary and the Ducks over 6.5, and Vegas on the money line. My favorite bets of the day, the Panthers and the Flyers at plus 148 for both teams to score in the first period. The Predators, I gotta hit the Predators at plus 135 to get the straight up win. The Coyotes plus 1.5 at minus 100, I do think is a strong one. And the Kraken and the Stars, both teams to score in that first period. Looking at those OT games, I do look at the Kraken and the Dallas Stars to go to overtime. I think that is a really solid way to take that game. I also look at the Minnesota Wild and the New Jersey Devils to go to overtime, and the Carolina Hurricanes and the New York Rangers. We know the New York Rangers pushing these games to go to overtime. I love the Rangers here at home on the money line as well, you guys. I think really solid bets. And that goalie prop, Sorokin over 27.5 save shots on goal. We know Jack Hughes for the New Jersey Devils has been making us money. So another way to go with those prop bets tonight. My best game over, you'd have to look at the Panthers team, the Panthers and the Flyers for that one to go over. I know we've seen some of these games not hit with the Panthers over, but I do think that one goes over. I think Calgary and the Ducks is another one that you look to go over. And probably the Lightning and Montreal to go over as well. I think you got high scoring ones in all 3 of those. Yep, the Rangers on the money line I love tonight. The Rangers are rolling way too hot for me to step in front of these teams. The Capitals are holding a ceremony for Ovechkin. Okay, so looking at that Capitals game versus the Columbus Blue Jackets, the Capitals in the first period, it makes me feel even stronger about the Capitals in the first period. With that happening, it'll probably be Ovi to get that goal. So look at Ovechkin for the anytime goal in that one. Great to hear that they are doing that there. Okay, guys. It's been an hour. I'm talked out. I'm sure you guys are listened out. I appreciate each and every one of you who has joined me for over the last hour here. You guys are rock stars. For everyone listening to this and just skipping to hear that parlay, you're rock stars as well. We're not leaving anyone out of the rock star category, but thank you guys so much for joining me here. We'll be back again tomorrow, 3:30 Eastern for another Puck It Up. I'm thinking of making shirts, you guys. Let me know if you guys would order shirts, if I made shirts. I want to thank you guys so much for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you. Let's make some freaking money tonight. I tell you, if Calgary comes out and plays solid, I'm going to have really mixed feelings about my team. But you guys know I'll be watching that game. So have a good one tonight. Keep smiling. Let's make some freaking money, and I'll see you back here tomorrow at 3:30 Eastern.